Hi, friends. My name is Evelyn.
And I'm Jasmine.
Hi. And I'm Sabrina. Hi.
Welcome
I'm
back
here.
to the channel.
On our long night of recording.
Alright, so last chapter they had a trials in the woods and people were supposed to guess which person was good and which person was evil based on following the 5 core rules. And nobody was really getting it right, but when Tedros had to guess, it was Sophia and Agatha that were actually transformed to look identical. And based on their behaviors, he originally thought Agatha was Sophie, thinking she was the innocent princess needing rescuing. And the girls got into a big fight in their hidden forms, and as a punishment, they got hot iron shoes stuck on their feet. Burning, yeah.
Fire
for
iron.
hours.
And you forgot the most important part.
Yes, what was that?
Agatha said, "Can we go home now?"
Oh yeah, and Sophie finally agreed.
Yep. We have a shorter chapter. It's not that many pages, so
This will be a short.
sorry.
See you on the next chapter.
Yes.
Chapter 11, the school. Quinola. Quinola. That's all I'm gonna say. Chapter 11, the schoolmaster's riddle. As the two schools slept, 2 heads surfaced outside in the black moat. Sophie and Agatha peeped out at the thin silver tower that divided the lake from the sledge. Too far to swim, too far to climb, a cyclone of fairies guarded its spire, while an army of wolves with crossbows manned wooden planks at its base. "And you're sure he's up there?" Sophie said. "I saw him." "He has to help us. I can't go back to that place."
Done.
Jeez.
You paused.
I had pages stuck together. Jeez.
It was
hesitated.
opportunist.
You hesitated.
You did.
I did not.
You
hesitated.
did.
Anna, I really don't think you should settle. Wait, you already did.
Settle.
You married a Kristoff.
I married my middle school sweetheart.
But you already got
I
married,
didn't
so
settle.
also this doesn't work for you. I don't mean it like that. Her husband's great.
She's hurting me. Make her stop.
Come, darling. Come
He
to
was literally
mommy.
quoting Olaf.
You're in the school of evil.
Uh-oh, cat fight.
You're in the school of evil. You attacked first.
Quinoa, you attacked first.
You attacked first.
Okay, ladies. Continue, please.
Look, we'll just beg him for mercy until he sends us home. Because that'll work, Sophie snorted. Leave him to me. For the last hour, the 2 girls had mulled over every possibility to escape. Agatha thought they could sneak into the woods and find their way back to Galveston, but Sophie pointed out that even if they get past the gate snakes and any other booby traps that could end up lost, they called it the Endless Woods for a reason. Instead, she proposed that they hunt for enchanted broomsticks or magic carpets or something in the school's closets that might make them fly over the forest.
Why not?
"And what direction would we fly in?" Agatha asked. The 2 girls discarded their options, leaving a trail of breadcrumbs that never worked. Seeking a kindly hunter or a dwarf, Agatha didn't trust strangers. Wishing for fairy godmother, Sophie didn't trust fat women.
What is wrong with you?
Until there was only one left.
You can't trust us, we make Olaf jokes.
Oh my
god. I swear I didn't put anything in this tea.
We haven't even started drinking the tea yet. It's too hot.
That's true.
2 sips.
That explains it.
Whoa. What did you bring?
Blame the pizza. We're having a pizza high. Our energy uplifted because we finally ate food.
Yes,
The
probably.
carbs are hitting.
Pent up energy.
Mm-hmm.
But now, peering up at the schoolmaster's fortress, they lost all hope. "We'll never get up there," Sophie sighed. Agatha heard a squawk in the distance. "Hold that thought. A short while later, they were back in the blue forest, caked in sledge, eyeing a nest of black eggs from behind the periwinkle bush. In front of the nest, 5 skeletal stilts slept on indigo grass, littered with blood and limbs of a half-eaten goat. Sophie scowled. I'm back where I started, covering in smelly ooze, and who knows how many flesh-eating maggots, and what are you doing? As soon as they attack, we jump on. As soon as they do what? But Agatha was already tiptoeing on the eggs. The shoes burnt your brain, Sophie hissed.
Charcoal.
A little charcoal up there instead of,
Smoke and ash.
Mm-hmm.
As Agatha inched towards the nest, she caught a closer look at the sleeping Stilf's jagged teeth, gnarled talons, and spiked tails that shredded flesh from bone.
Oh, they sound so cute and petable.
There's actually a picture of it.
I know, it was actually cute. We'll show you guys at the end of the chapter.
Actually, you know what? I can do that right now.
It's beginning.
I have dark tastes for the record, so my version of cute may not work for you, but
I
think it's cute.
I can't say
It's like
that's
the little,
cute.
It's okay. You remember those the skeleton horses in Harry Potter?
Thestrals?
Yeah. So it's
Here, I
like.
should put this on this side.
Watch, they heard nothing that I said earlier.
Probably not, but
That'd be so
you're not that
funny.
important anyway.
Excuse you.
I like how she's mad. I made a joke that she took wrong, but she's been doing blows to me before we even recorded the chapter.
Quinola.
Sacagawea.
I used to pronounce quinoa quinoa because I'm from a different state, and that's just how they pronounced it there. So, well, that's how my mom pronounced it. Not with an L, it's quinoa, but she keeps thinking I say
you
quinoa.
You also said what for reverie? You said
I didn't read the full candle.
you did too.
Oh my god, ladies.
I thought it said
ladies,
revival
ladies,
at first, and then I realized it wasn't an L at the end.
No, it was like you're like I don't even know how you pronounced it. Anyway, back to the book.
I was in the process of burning my fingertips off with a tea bag. I wasn't trying to think that hard.
Let's see here. Subtly doubting their plan, Agatha backed up only to trip on a branch and fall on the goat leg with a loud crack. The stiffs opened their eyes. Her heart stopped. Unless a villain wakes them up. The pink dress wouldn't fool them. Agatha glowered at the waking fiends. She couldn't give up now. Not when Sophie was willing to go home. She lunged for the nest, snatched an egg, and sprang up with a blitz. Can't watch. Sophie mewed, squinting through her fingers for spewing limbs and blood. But the vicious,
not mood.
Oh, I thought she said mood. I was like, mood.
How princess-like.
Right.
But the vicious birds were nuzzling Agatha like puppies seeking milk.
What?
The birds.
The Stilfs, remember, if
We're
good
trying
wakes them up, they're okay. But if evil wakes them up, then they attack.
Oh.
So they think she's like a mother.
Gotcha.
Like, oh, mommy, little puppies. Oh, that tickles, she squealed. Sophie folded her arms, clumping back. Agatha handed the egg to her. Your turn. Oh, please. If they like you, they'll try to mate with me. Animals worship princesses, said Sophie, sashaying towards the birds.
I love how she still thinks she's a princess.
Right?
After
I know,
all
she
this, still is hell-bound being
still
a princess.
The Stilfs unleashed a war cry and charged. Help! She threw the egg to Agatha, but the Stilfs still chased Sophie, who ran in circles like a lunatic.
I really hope they put this scene in the movie.
I hope so, too.
This would be great.
5 Stilfs high-stepping behind their moronic maypole parade until everyone forgot who was after who and the birds knocked into each other dizzily. See, I outsmarted them, Sophie beamed. A Stilf bit her on the bottom. Ah! Sophie ran for the nearest tree. Only she couldn't climb trees, so she hurtled mashed gooseberries at the bird's eye. But the bird had no eye, so the berries went right through the bony socket and plopped onto the ground. Agatha watched stone-faced. Aggie, it's coming! The Stilf charged for Sophie, only to stop short and find Agatha perched on its back. Get on, you dimwit, she shouted at Sophie. Without a saddle? Sophie scoffed. It'll leave chafe marks. The Stove lunged for her. Agatha whooped its head and slung Sophie by the waist onto the bird's spine. Hang on tight, Agatha yelled as the bird thrashed up to the flight, somersaulting over the bay to get the girls off of its back. Four of the Stoves exploded from blue trees on murderous pursuit. Agatha kicked to the bird's thigh bones, Sophie holding on for dear life. This is the worst plan ever! Hearing squawks and screams, the fairy and the wolf guard squinted into the sky, only to see intruders vanish into the fog. There's the tower, Agatha cried, spotting the silver spire through the mist. A wolf's arrow whizzed between the Stove's ribs and almost slicing Sophie in half. Fairies stormed out of the fog, shooting golden webs from their mouths, and the Stove dove to avoid them, spinning to elude a new hail of wolf arrows. This time, neither girl could hold on and tumbled off of its back. No! Screamed Agatha. Sophie caught the last bone of the Stove's tail. Agatha caught the last of Sophie's glass shoe. We're gonna die! Sophie howled. Just hold on, bellowed Agatha. My hands are sweaty. We're gonna die! The Stove zoomed for the tower wall, but just as it whipped its tail to smash them, Agatha saw a window glint through the fog. Now! Screamed Agatha. This time, Sophie, listen. Golden nets shot from every direction, and the Stove let out a helpless screech, but the fairies watched it plunge to its death. They watched each other curiously. There were no riders on its back. The crash landing through the window left Sophie's entire right side bruised and Agatha's wrist gashed. But pain meant they were still alive. Pain meant they still had hope for getting home. With a chorus of groans, they staggered to their feet. Then Sophie saw the worst of the damage. My shoe! She held up her glass heel, snapped to a serrated stump. They were one of a kind, she moaned. Agatha ignored her and limped ahead into the murky gray chamber, barely lit by the window's dawn glow. Hello? Agatha called. Echoes died unanswered. The girls inched farther into the shadowy room. Stone bookcases cloaked gray brick walls, packed top to bottom with colorful bindings. Sophie dusted off a shelf and read the elegant silver letters on the wooden spines. Rapunzel, the singing bone. Thumbelina, the frog king. Cap o' Rushes, the six swans. All stories the children of Galadan used to drink up. She looked at Agatha, who had made the same discovery across the room. They were standing in the library of every fairy tale ever told. Agatha opened up Beauty and the Beast to find it written in the same elegant script as the spine, illustrated with vivid paintings like the ones in the foyers of both schools. Then she opened up the Red Shoes, Donkey Skin, and the Snow Queen, and found they too were written in the same regal handwriting. Aggie? Agatha followed Sophie's gaze to the darkest part of the room. Through the shadows she could make out a white stone table pressed up against the wall. There was something looming over it, a long, thin dagger dangling magically in midair. Agatha ran her fingers along the cold, smooth surface of the table and thought of all the blank headstones behind her house, waiting for bodies. Sophie's eyes fixed on the hovering knife, eerily still a few feet above the white slab, and that's when she saw it wasn't a knife at all. It was a pen. It's a pen, she said softly. It was made of pure steel and shaped like a knitting needle, lethally sharp on both ends. One side of the pen was engraved with a deep flowing script that ran unbroken from tip to tip. I'm not even gonna try. Happily. I think it's just like elvish type dealio.
Gotcha.
Elvish type dealio. There you go. Elvish type dealio. Suddenly, the pen caught a sliver of sunlight and scattered blinding gold rays in every direction. Agatha... Sorry.
You got blinded, did you?
No, she stepped on my toe.
I stepped on her toe I tapped her toe.
Gotcha.
On accident.
Agatha turned from the glare. When she turned back, Sophie was climbing into the table. Sophie, no! Sophie walked towards the pen, eyes wide, body rigid. The world dissipated into a blur of gray around her. All that remained was the shimmering, spindle-sharp pen, strange words reflecting on her glazed eyes. Somewhere inside, she knew what they meant. She reached for the tip. Don't! Agatha cried. Sophie's skin kissed ice-cold steel, blood about to pierce through. Agatha tackled her and both girls crashed onto the table. Sophie broke from her trance and peered at Agatha suspiciously. I'm on the table with you. You were about to touch it, Agatha said. Huh? Why would I touch a... Her eyes drifted up to the pen. It was no longer still. It dangled an inch from their faces, pointing between them with a deadly sharp tip as if weighing who to kill first. Don't move, Agatha said between clenched teeth. The pen seared red hot. Move! She cried. The pen plunged and both girls rolled off the table, only to see a razor-sharp nib lurched to a stop right before it hit the stone. A puff of black smoke, and the book suddenly appeared on the table beneath it, bound with cherry red wood. The pen flipped the cover open to the first blank page and began to write. Once upon a time, there were two girls. The same elegant script as the others, a brand new fairy tale. Sophie and Agatha gaped from the floor, terrified. Now that's odd, said a gentle voice. The girls whipped around again. No one was there. Students at my school train and toil for 4 years, venture into the woods to seek their nemesis, fight vicious battles, all just for a hope the historian might tell their story. The girls spun around. No one in the room at all, but then they saw their shadows merge on the wall into a crooked shadow that kidnapped them. The girls turned slowly. And here it starts, 1 for 2 first-year, unskilled, untrained, clumsy intruders, said the schoolmaster. He wore silver robes that billowed over his hunched, slender frame, hiding his hands and feet. A rusted crown sat off-center on his head, thick, ghostly white hair. A gleaming silver mask covered every last shred of his face, revealing 2 twinkling blue eyes and wide, full lips, curled into a mischievous smile. It must be a good ending. The historian dove to the page. One was beautiful and beloved, and the other was a lonely hag. I like our story, Sophie said. It hasn't gotten to the part where the prince punches you, said Agatha. Homeward ho! Sophie sulked. They looked up and saw the schoolmaster studying them. Readers are unpredictable, of course. Some have been our greatest students, most have been embarrassing failures. He gazed at the distant towers, turning his back to the girls. But this shows how confused readers have become. Agatha's heart pounded. This was their chance. She jabbed Sophie. Go. I can't, Sophie whispered. You said leave him to you. He's too old.
Oh my good God, make up your mind.
She was gonna try and seduce him.
Yeah.
But still, pick your battles.
She was thinking he was young,
And
so
cute.
now you know Sophie's character. She's not gonna.
Vanity.
Yeah. Agatha elbowed her in the ribs. Sophie elbowed her back. Many of the faculty say I kidnap you, steal you, take you against your will, the schoolmaster said. Agatha kicked Sophie forward. But the truth is I free you. Sophie swallowed and took off her broken shoe. You deserve to live extraordinary lives. Sophie crept towards the schoolmaster, raising her jagged heel. You deserve the chance to know who you are. The schoolmaster turned to Sophie, whose shoe was poised over his heart. We demand our release, Agatha cried. Silence. Sophie dropped to her knees. Oh, please, sir, we beg for mercy, Agatha groaned. You took me for good, sobbed Sophie, but they put me in evil, and now my dress is black, and my hair is dirty, and my prince hates me, and my roommates are murderers, and there's no groom rooms for never so now. She let us a soprano wail. I smell! She bawled into her eyes. So you wish to switch schools? The schoolmaster asked. We would like to go home, said Agatha. Sophie looked up brightly. Can we switch schools?
Oh,
the schoolmaster smiled. No.
Then
we'd like to go home, Sophie said. Lost in a strange land, the girls wanted to go home, the historian noted. We have sent students home before, the schoolmaster said, silver mask flaring. Illness, mental incapacity, the petrification of an influential family. So you can send us home, Agatha said. Indeed I could, said the schoolmaster, if you weren't in the midst of a fairy tale. He eyed the pen across the room. You see, once the story begins your story, then I'm afraid we have to follow it wherever it takes you. Now the question is, will the story take you home? The historian plunged into the page. Stupid girls. They were trapped for eternity. I suspected as much, said the schoolmaster. So there's no way home, Agatha said, eyes welling. Not unless you're ending, the schoolmaster said, and going home together is rather far-fetched ending for two girls fighting for opposing sides, don't you think? But we don't want to fight, Sophie said. We're on the same side, said Agatha. We're friends, Sophie said, clasping Agatha's hand. Friends, the schoolmaster marveled. Agatha looked just as surprised, feeling Sophie's grip. Well, that certainly changes things. The schoolmaster paced like a dawdling duck. You see, a princess and a witch can never be friends in our world. It's unnatural, it's unthinkable, it's impossible. Which means, if you are indeed friends, Agatha must not be a princess and Sophie must not be a witch. Exactly, said Sophie, because I'm a princess and she's the witch. Agatha kicked her. And if Agatha is not a princess and Sophie is not a witch, then clearly I've got it wrong, and you wouldn't be in our world at all, he said, pacing slowly. Maybe what everyone says about me is true after all. That you're good, Sophie said. And I'm old, the schoolmaster sighed out the window. Agatha couldn't contain her excitement. So we can go home now? Well, there's the thorny matter of proving all this. But we've tried, Sophie said. I've tried proving I'm not a villain. And I've tried proving I'm not a princess, said Agatha. But there's only one way in this world to prove who you are. The historian stopped its busy writing, sensing a pivotal moment. Slowly the schoolmaster turned, and for the first time his blue eyes had a glint of danger. What's the one thing evil can never have, and one thing good can never do without? The girls looked at each other. So we solve your riddle and you send us home? Agatha asked hopefully. The schoolmaster turned away. I trust I won't see you either of you again unless you want a rather depressing end to your story. Suddenly the room started disappearing in a sweep of white, as if the scene was being erased from their eyes. Wait! Agatha cried. What are you doing? First the bookshelves vanished, then the walls. No, we have to go home now. Then the ceiling, the table, the floor around them. The two girls lunged for a corner to avoid being erased. How do we find you? How do we answer? Agatha ducked to avoid a streak of white. You're cheating! Across the room, Sophie saw the story and furiously writing to keep up with her fairy tale. The pen sensed her gaze, for the words in the steel suddenly seared red, and Sophie's heart burned up with a secret understanding. Scared, she clung to Agatha. You thief! You bully! You masked-face old creep! Agatha screamed. We're fine without you. Readers, we're fine without you. Stay in your tower with your masks and your pens and stay out of our lives, you hear me? Steal children from other villages, but leave us alone. The last thing they saw was Schoolmaster turn from the window, smiling in a sea of white. What other villages? The ground vanished beneath the two girls' feet, and they fell into the emptiness. The schoolmaster's last words echoing, bleeding into the wolves' call to the morning class. They woke, blinded by sunlight, swimming in pools of sweat. Agatha looked for Sophie, Sophie looked for Agatha, but they found they were in their own beds, in towers far apart.
Dang. He's got some magic powers.
Well, I would hope so. He's a schoolmaster.
Those are some really interesting stuck-together dream.
Mm-hmm.
We're having, mind melts here.
Yeah, see that.
Mm-hmm.
How would you guys feel if you had some grand adventure and you just woke up in your bed?
I thought it was interesting that they looked for each other, even though the schoolmaster said that they couldn't be friends.
Yeah.
I would be looking for my other friend too.
Yeah. Agreed.
So,
Can they break the separation of good and evil? Can they form the gray area?
Well, actually, what do you guys think that the answer to the riddle is?
What was the riddle again?
The riddle was, what is one thing evil can never have, and one thing good can never do without?
Happiness? I don't know.
Happiness is a good guess.
Happiness is a good guess.
Yeah. Or like peace. I don't know.
Happiness, peace, love.
Mm-hmm. Well, good can't live without.
Put in the comments, what do you think it is?
Yeah, let us know below. We want to hear your thoughts and opinions as well as you follow along with us. And until then, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.